For more than 70 years, the world has lived under a hidden system that grants only 5 countries the power to control the fate of humanity. This system is called the Security Council, and its deadliest weapon is the veto. A simple word, yet stronger than thousands of armies and international decisions. What is the veto? Who gave it to these 5 countries? And why can't the world get rid of it despite the obvious injustice it causes? After World War II in 1945, the world emerged from the greatest catastrophe in modern history. Cities were completely destroyed, millions died, and Europe was reduced to ashes. Amid this destruction, the victorious powers met to establish a new international system to prevent a third world war. From this agreement was born the United Nations, along with its most important body, the Security Council. But even before the council was formed, the victorious nations, America, the Soviet Union, Britain, France, and China, had made a clear condition. We will not participate in any international system unless we are given the right to a veto. Any decision they don't like can be blocked with a single word: no. On paper, the purpose of the veto was noble, to prevent hasty decisions that could ignite war among major powers. But in reality, it became a tool to protect interests and influence. Since the first veto used by the Soviet Union in 1946 against a matter concerning Syria and Lebanon, the game became clear. This right would not be used to protect the world, but to protect the powerful. Even today, the veto has been used over 290 times, more than 150 by Russia and the former Soviet Union, over 80 by the United States, and the rest by China, Britain, and France. But the most dangerous thing is that each veto carries a tragic story. In 1956, Britain and France used the veto to protect themselves from condemnation for their aggression against Egypt in the Suez Crisis. In 1972, the United States began using the veto repeatedly to block any decision condemning Israel for occupying Palestinian territories. More than 45 times, the U.S. used the veto in favor of Israel despite global condemnation. Meanwhile, Russia has used the veto to stop resolutions condemning its interventions in Syria, the annexation of Crimea, and the war in Ukraine. Each time the veto is used, a decision falls, and with it, hope. Decisions that could have saved civilians, stopped wars, or protected people from oppression are buried silently by a single word from a single country. On the surface, the Security Council represents the world, but in truth, only 5 countries control its decisions. The other 190 countries are mere witnesses, allowed to vote but without influence. The veto has skewed the balance of justice dangerously. Today, the world sees that international law applies only to the weak, while the powerful are above accountability. When a small country makes a mistake, sanctions are imposed within days. But when a major power commits a clear crime, no one dares discuss it in the council, because they know the veto is ready to stop everything. You may ask, if the veto is unfair, why not abolish it? The painful answer: abolishing it requires the approval of the 5 countries that hold it. In other words, the system was built to protect itself forever. Dozens of proposals to reform the Security Council have emerged, including expanding membership to include countries like Germany, Japan, and India, or limiting the veto in humanitarian cases. But all failed, because those who hold the veto refuse to give it up. In recent years, the UN's role has become very limited. Its resolutions often only issue statements of condemnation without real enforcement. People are losing trust in an institution that has become a hostage to 5 countries. Many observers see the world living under a fake global system, talking about justice and human rights while everything is actually managed according to the interests of the major powers. Even international laws and humanitarian resolutions are used as political tools, sometimes to justify interventions, sometimes to cover up crimes. Yet, the world is starting to change. Emerging powers like India, Brazil, and South Africa are loudly demanding reform. The new generation sees that justice cannot belong to just 5 countries. But for now, no real will to change exists, because those in power do not relinquish it easily. The veto was supposed to maintain peace, but it has become a weapon that kills justice. Every time it is used, innocent people pay the price. Perhaps the greatest tragedy is that history is written from the perspective of the powerful, while the weak have their voices erased. Today, more than 80 years after the founding of the UN, the world still wonders, are we truly in a fair global system, or are we simply inhabitants of a planet ruled by 5 countries with a single word, the veto? The veto is not just a political decision. It is a symbol of a world still living under power, not law.